You're listening to Estrogen Dropouts.
Hey, welcome back to Estrogen Dropouts. I'm one of your hosts, Erin.
And I'm Elizabeth. And today we're going to ask you to keep an open mind while you pay attention to our conversation. So, we're going to talk about internal misogyny and ageism and how we judge ourselves. And I believe we hear a lot in social media, the talking point of the patriarchy, and the younger generations talk about it a lot. I personally do believe that the patriarchy years and years ago set beauty standards or set that the men kind of set their ideal standard of a beautiful woman. This is just my opinion. Erin can talk to hers. But here's the thing, I believe that women have adopted it initially years ago and kind of transcended it and worked it out. But now we do it to ourselves and we do it to our daughters without even being conscious of it most of the time. And I think that it's hurting us as we age, and it's hurting all of the generations for sure. But here we are in midlife now, and I think that we are looking at ourselves in a very judgmental and harsh light. And I think we just need to turn this around. What are your thoughts, Erin?
Yeah, I do think that, historically, patriarchy, set the tone for like modern beauty standards or just beauty standards. And, but it's really interesting because, like, even if you look back in um, earlier days, like, I don't know exactly, like, say, even like the 1700s, men were the ones that wore makeup, had hair. And even in the natural world, like, even if you look in nature, the male bird or the male reptile, I think, are always the ones they have the brighter plumage. Like, the women are more subdued in color. Especially, I think, in the bird kingdom, the males are always flashy and trying to win the female over, right? They do the elaborate dances and they are just doing all of the things. And, somehow that got lost when it transferred to humans. And I'd like to think probably maybe our caveman ancestors, it was like that. The men were like, okay, let me, bring home the biggest animal hide and, like, woo my lady. So I do agree somewhat that, I'm starting to kind of dislike the word patriarchy. I think it's overused. I think it's sometimes a cop out, like, for people to be like, oh, it's because of the patriarchy. And Elizabeth and I were having a conversation before we hit record about how I follow a lot of, like, spiritual leaders. Elizabeth does as well. And they're always blaming the patriarchy. And for myself, as a person who has been married to my husband for 35 years and I have 3 sons, they are far from patriarchal. Maybe my experience is different than most women. So maybe I just happen to live in a little bubble of non-patriarchal men. Now, part of the reason I think that my boys aren't patriarchal is because of my husband, and also they were raised by a very strong mom. And so they have the utmost respect for women, are very pro equality, pro women can do anything that men can do. And Jeff will even, say how, women make better leaders. I mean, he's very,
So I think that Jeff is rare. So
Yeah.
my husband is very open-minded. I have a very forward-thinking son, but my husband is like, he thinks that women are happier at home. And he's like, not that they couldn't work, but if the finances were such that they could stay home, that he thinks that in our nature would say, we don't want to work outside the home. While that is true for me, I don't know that that is true for the majority of women. I don't know, I wouldn't say that. He thinks that women can be emotional, and he's said that he doesn't think that in the past, he has said he doesn't think that they're a good president. However, then in one of his careers, he did have a very strong woman leader who he was like, I respect her more than I've ever had anyone like above me that I respect. And so today we were talking about this because he knew what we were filming on. And he was like, he has come a long way with it. But I'm like, do you realize you think that women are so emotional? I'm like, men are the ones out there killing everybody in mass suicides. There's been 3 mass suicides or mass shootings that, were done by trans women, but those were men, cis males. And so that means their brain and their up until, they were 18, they were men. So there's never been a female mass shooting. So as far as the most emotional, I would say that that's the other side. So I think that your situation is a little different. I think that, and I think that most women have a more extreme, and like my son does not believe in that at all. My son is like, I think that if you raise men and women the exact same, that it is circumstance over, like, it's environment over.
over nature,
Yes.
nurture over nature.
Yeah. And so I think I have both in my household, but I think that most people that have men in the house and multiple of them, they believe they're more conservative with that.
Yeah. So you would say Chris is more traditional, like still
Yeah.
kind of like 1950s.
He leans he leans more liberal, but he is, I mean, not liberal with it, but or like forward thinking. Like he classifies himself, politically as like an independent. But I
Mhm.
would say with this, he still has some, but I also think that I happen to, he only knows the women in his life, which are his mom, his sister, and me. And we are all very traditional. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't want to work at a house, his sister didn't, and his mom doesn't, and his dad worked, and so he has not been around that, where I grew up with a full-time working mom. So my perspective is very different.
Yeah, and I do think it is kind of what you know and what you grew up with. Especially I think at our age where it was a lot more, our parents were a lot more traditional. Like my mom stayed at home. She was a flight attendant when she met my dad. She had my sister, and that was back when the airline wouldn't even let you fly when you got married, I think. They were just like, okay, no, you're going to, and actually my grandma did the same thing. My grandma went to college, worked for the Tennessee Valley Authority, met my grandpa. They didn't get married till she was 30. And as soon as she got married, like she lost her job essentially because it's like, even though they didn't end up having kids, and well, actually, I'm sorry, they got married in their early 20s, but they didn't have the first child until they were 30. And so my grandma was born in like 1912. So for 8 years or so, she was a housewife with no children, because nowadays, if you have like, a husband and a wife or, a male and a female partner, whoever gets pregnant and has the baby, a lot of times that's the person that will choose to like step back from their career. Not always. There are always, going to be women can out earn men easily. And so sometimes it depends on who's makes more of the money and the breadwinner. And there's a lot more stay at home dads. It's been on the rise. So my grandma stayed at home and then my mom did. And then my mom went back to school when my brother was 5. And so my mom always worked from after she graduated from nursing school. She had gone to college originally, but then married my dad. Anyways, back to my point is that because so Chris, you and I mean, I know your mom because your mom ended up being a single mom for a while. So it's a little bit different. But when you're raised in a traditional household, that's just kind of what you think that's the norm. And he probably, where he grew up, everybody's mom stayed home. Everybody's mom had dinner on the table at 5:30. Everybody's mom did all the, traditional housewife roles. But I do think that, that is changing. Also, marriage is on the decline, children are on the decline, all of that. But I think that what I want to really like point out is that the most, I'd say, judgment I have felt is from other women.
Agree. Same.
It's like I never feel like when I go out in public, like let's just say I walk into a new situation, a new place, the women are the ones that like are sizing me up, you know, looking me up and down, judging my shoes, my outfit, my purse, like, is she too thin? Is she not thin enough? Is she attractive? Is she not attractive? Like, oh my gosh, her makeup, what's up with her hair? And whereas men, I don't feel are the ones that are doing the judging that way. I mean, maybe they're judging you just based on appearance, like deciding like, oh, she's attractive or not attractive. They're not giving you the head to toe, like,
Yeah, women are policing you.
yeah,
They're literally like taking
that's
inventory.
exactly what I was going to say. They have a checklist.
And I shouldn't say they, we, because
Yeah.
I've done it. So, and usually it's like, I like to think that I do it only when I'm admiring, but it's probably because I'm not cognizant or, just conscious of when I'm judging. But I think that we all probably do it, even though I really would say I don't. I want to say I don't, but I
Right.
don't
I
think
mean,
that
I think
that's
it's
realistic.
impossible to not
Yeah.
judge people. that would be like otherworldly, right? I mean, it's like everybody judges everyone. But when I do find myself, because, like, for instance, I just joined a new gym. I think I had told you my old gym closed. It was my little comfort zone. So all of these are really young girls that are going to it there because they're our local college. Cute figures. I mean, I didn't lift weights when I was like 18 to 20, I mean, that wasn't on my radar. Girls were not in the gym, that was before the era of the big booty, the toned abs. It was just like, you were skinny because you were young. And so anytime I have found myself like looking around and like feeling maybe a little bit insecure, like 55, I've had 3 kids, I've got like a double chin. I've got a little like extra flab around the middle. My butt is starting to go down the back of my thighs. I have felt, especially like right at first, judging them kind of like not, I mean, was probably like my initial was feeling insecure. It's like it was me, it was triggering me. So I've tried to like reframe it, or I have reframed saying, look at the hard work that they've been putting in. Like, I mean, she's got an ass like a damn, like a shelf. I'm like, wow, like that takes a lot of commitment and a lot of like dedication. So I try to, when I catch myself wanting to judge in a harsh way, then I have to like snap out of it, girl. Like, first off, I'm like, wait till you're 55. What I mean, in my mind, I am like,
Have you seen those? I'm sure you've seen them at the gym. I don't know if you know about them though to know they're a thing, but have you seen the leggings, the butt lifting leggings? So if you're listening to this and you don't know, now they have legging. It's like a push-up bra for your butt. And
yes,
so it's really tight around your butt cheeks and your butt like sits in them and then it goes up your crack
yes.
to make your butt look all juicy. So I've seen girls
Do you
literally.
have any?
I don't have them, but I have a big butt, so I don't need to have them. I got enough booty back there. But if you take these pants off, I've seen the girls do it, but put on normal leggings and they're like flat. And then they put these leggings on and it lifts them and makes them all like juicy and jiggly. Look, I'm like, what in the world? That's crazy. But you know what? I'm happy for them because now I have breast implants, but before, like I was always like the double A shoving into a push-up bra. And thank God I had push-up bras forever because they gave me so much confidence. So I'm like, those flat booty girls, if this gives them confidence like the push-up bra gave me, like more power to you, sister. Like it's better than getting butt implants.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Well, maybe I need to get some of those leggings so I can walk around. I mean, I would have a very hard time doing that, but not because of the fact that it's like an illusion, but the fact that it goes up your butt crack. Because I
Yeah.
see the ones I've seen those on girls. I don't know if it has the push up butt
Yeah.
lift.
And it's got like stitching right in the center to make it look like
Yeah,
so.
it's ruched almost,
Yeah.
and then it goes up your butt. But I'm always like, that's gotta feel uncomfortable. It's like rubbing up in your butt crack. I don't know. But I mean, I do think that like as far as, women are just a harsher judge of women are
Well,
we
we're always measuring ourselves against other
against them.
women. That's the problem. And we shouldn't do that. We should just look at ourselves, like stand in our own power, our own grace and dignity and appearance and like body and feel empowered as we are. And then treat everyone as individuals. We don't need to measure ourselves to every woman that comes in contact with us or, or our girlfriends or it's just crazy. Girls, close friends will measure themselves against close friends. Like it's crazy. I have daughters, and so I feel like I don't have a lot of these habits anymore because from raising teenage daughters that are this new generation of girls, let me tell you, they are sassy and strong and they don't care. They gain 20 pounds, they let their stomach hang out. Like my generation, we would never. Like
Uh-huh.
Gen X, we're like leggings with a big old tummy and a sports bra. No way would our generation do that. These young girls are doing it and they could give two shits. And like part of me is like wants to be like, yikes, like I would literally hide. They don't hide. They're like, this is just my stomach. And they're like, well, you can, if I have a t-shirt over it, if I don't, you can tell I have one. So what's the big deal?
I know I do see girls that aren't as fit
Yeah.
and they're in sports bra and
Yeah. They don't
really
care.
short leggings. They have like cellulite. And I'm like, wow, yeah. I mean, there is a lot more push to body positivity and not like getting caught up in what your body looks like. And I had gone through a whole thing several years ago and did several posts on my social media about how, my body has like, brought forth 3 lives. It's climbed mountains, it's swam in oceans. Like, I want to learn to love my body for all that it's capable of, not based on its appearance. Like,
Yeah.
and I do think that, having a positive body image is very helpful, and as long as you're healthy, as long as you can do the things that
Hmm.
you want, as long as you can, like, if you want to be able to go and climb, go hike a mountain and you can at your weight, whatever it is, no matter how big your tummy is, that's fine. But I think, then when it starts, for me, if it started to impede upon things that I wanted to do and accomplish, then it would be like, okay, hey, like I need to figure out the balance between, having a positive body image, but also prioritizing my health and movement and ability to get around, and get.
Yeah. So I think the way that my girls have explained this to me is that they think it's like the older generations, like us and maybe millennials that are like looking at body like at all that's like you're proud of yourself. What they're saying is like if I have a stomach, I have a stomach, whether I put a t-shirt over it or if it's just a sports bra. It's not a statement about my health. It's not related. Like so
Mhm.
they're like, it's just a body. That doesn't mean I'm not making a statement that I'm healthy or I'm okay with my weight or I'm like, they're like, it has nothing to do with that. It's the fact of like, I'm not going to be ashamed and hide it, but I'm not saying I'm proud of it either. I'm just saying it is just a stomach. Like, or it is, I don't know. It took a while for me to get my head around what they were trying to say. I get it now, but it's
It is
after.
what it is without the.
Right. It's not saying it's good, it's not saying it's bad, they're saying it's just a stomach, I can cover it, but it doesn't change the fact it's there. I'm here
Mhm.
at the gym because 'cause I'm wanting to exercise. They're like, "It has nothing it doesn't mean that I think I'm healthy or I think my body is okay." It means like or they're like, "It just means I have a stomach."
But I wonder if one of them, like, got to where then they were at a heavy weight that they couldn't, like, go for a walk or go do something. Would they have a different feeling about their body then?
Yeah, I don't know. Like one of them is struggling right now with her weight and she's gained some weight. And she still wears sports bra and leggings and she doesn't fit in like clothes. Like she's gained about 15 pounds and that's a lot for someone that's 5 feet. So but she's still like, and she's unhappy with it and she's working on it. But she's like, it is my body. Like I just,
So she is working on it. I mean, she is aware, she's saying, okay, like, maybe this is, like, holding me back from feeling my best, I mean, whenever I've
yes.
gained weight, it's not so much the weight, it's the way it makes me feel. It
Yeah,
makes
like what
me.
I wanna hide when I gain weight. That's what I'm saying. They're not hiding anymore. Like, for
Yeah.
me, it's the shame. She doesn't shame herself.
Yeah, I never felt shame. Like, it would just feel
That's
like
how she
when I'd
feels.
sit and I'd be like it just, my pants would dig into me, or I would just feel very, like, just bloated, just, I mean, I still wore leggings.
That's how she felt, like how you feel. So, like, I would feel like if I'm bloated, there's no way in hell am I gonna show that.
Yeah.
There's no way. Like, for me, that's like a deep shame. So that I need to work on.
Well, you also, though, we've talked about this before on a different episode. I don't remember which one, but that how you grew up, like, being like having someone say to you, "Was that what you're going to wear?" Or, "Oh," whereas, like, I've said before on the podcast, my mother never complimented me, but she never insulted me. I mean, she never said anything like, "Oh, that looks beautiful on you." Like, never. She never would say, like,
So
"Oh, you're."
your mom probably is not the mom then that is like critiquing women, policing them when they're
Oh,
out.
my mom would never. My mom is like,
So
she.
how did you like did you learn that then from your peer?
Yeah, I mean, my mom may be doing it internally because I think just it's a human nature. She's never said, "Oh my gosh, look at that woman," or gossiped, when
Yeah.
we're together. Or like if we're, say, at a table in a restaurant and somebody comes in that's like, super heavy or is dressed inappropriately in hooker clothes or something. I mean, she would never be like, "Oh my God, look at that lady."
Yeah, I've never said anything like that to my girls either.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, she's never made a comment about somebody's appearance. But I mean, I think you can't, it's really hard to undo because I think whether we like it or not, the media has affected all of us because sex sells, skinny sells, pretty sells. So every model, every ad on TV or billboard is a thin, beautiful person, whether man or woman or whatever. Take that in visually. So even if we haven't learned it like growing up, we still have seen it through media. We see the covers of magazines. They don't put ugly people in
Yeah.
ads. They don't put, not that I think anybody's ugly. A lot of my friends think I'm Pollyanna because I just say, I don't think that there's any ugly people. I think everyone has something beautiful about them, whether it's their eyes, whether it's their smile, whether it's, you know, dimples. It could be something very small. I really truly believe that there are no ugly people. Now, you can be an ugly person.
Yeah, like in your heart. That's the way I use the word ugly. It's like to describe a heart or intentions. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I
You know,
mean,
so for
are
me,
you?
I think I've gone the complete opposite with marketing. I well, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I don't catch, but like so to go against like all this like what we're supposed to look like and all this. So like I haven't done Botox in 2 years. I've never had filler. I started to get on this like gray train, started to grow my hair out naturally. And then I was like just recently, like a couple months ago, I'm like, am I again like falling victim to a different way of being that is not me. Like, and I started to look at that because you can totally fall into the category without asking genuine questions to yourself. Am I bleaching my hair, coloring my hair, or getting Botox or filler because it makes me feel good? Or
Mhm.
am I doing it for, so other people think I look good, or to meet their standards of beauty. And so then all of a sudden I started like letting my hair go, letting everything go. And I'm kind of like, shit, I'm 50. Like I am not like old. And I'm like, why am I just like, oh, let's just let the hair grow natural. And like, that's great for you if you love that. But I've always really enjoyed having my hair colored. Like I've had purple hair, pink hair, brown hair. Like I've had every color hair and I enjoy the change. That's what I like. I get so bored looking at the same person in the mirror all the time that I like to change my look. And so I'm like going, huh, well, let me think for myself and stop letting other influencers and other, people decide and tell me what the standard of beauty is. Let me decide my own standard. And I'm really not sure yet even what that is. But all I can say is fuck all these rules. I'm tired of people telling me I'm not going old. I'm not growing old gracefully if I color my hair, if I get filler, I mean, I'm not doing, I did bleach, get some highlights recently, but, I'm not s that's not a declaration, I'm not getting filler or anything. I'm Filler terrifies me personally, but
Mhm.
I certainly don't judge anyone else, I could give a shit what you do.
Right.
But I just wanna decide on my own.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, I think, I had my eyes done for my 50th birthday. I had a blepharoplasty where they took the extra skin off, and it wasn't because I was trying to even stay young looking. What it was for me is that when I would catch sight of myself in the mirror, because of my hooded, it was especially my right eye was more hooded, and it's actually like still hooded, more hooded than my left. If you're looking at the video, you can see. But it was more like when I would look in the mirror and I would see myself with my hooded eyes, it made me look tired. And then when I looked tired, I felt tired. And so I would like be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tired," you know? And so I got my eyes done and then I was like, I stopped feeling tired when I looked in the mirror. And now I'm battling with because I have the marionette lines and I'm starting to get the loosening of the jawline and the loosening of the neck and sometimes when I look in the mirror and I'll say, and even sometimes when we're filming the podcast and I try to keep my eyes on you because I'll be like, I look so angry. I'm like, who's that old angry lady? Then I'm
You
like,
said
wait,
that before we started, you're like, "I have to remember to smile because I look angry." I would never once look at you and think that you look angry.
yeah. Well, it's like, it's like pulled down like I'm grouchy or something. And I'm like, I'm not grouchy. Why do I look grouchy? So it's not because I'm trying to like live up to a standard. It's because and I quit doing Botox for quite a number of years and I think it was 3 years that I didn't do it and then I did it this time last year, sometime in February of last year. And it didn't last very long and I was like cuz I was doing it for probably about 5 years like every 6 months 5 to 6 months. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to stop doing Botox. Cause also I was reading about how it can make your brow heavier, yada, yada. And so I was like, I'm just going to let my forehead be wrinkly. Like, I don't really care if my forehead's wrinkly. I've had these lines across my forehead since I was 18 and I'm expressive. I use my eyebrows a lot.
Mhm.
But then last year, I just was like, you know what? I think I'm going to get some Botox again. And I did. And it didn't like make me feel any differently. So I was like, I'm going to save my money. It's not worth it. So I think I'm like you. I want to do what I want to do to help make me feel better about myself. I wish that like I could be the person who doesn't care about like if I let my hair go gray completely and I wasn't getting highlights to help blend the grays, that I could just not wear makeup and let myself just not be concerned with my outer appearance. But I do care. I was going to say, I follow a gal she's a great yoga teacher and um, she has thousands of followers, but she was saying that every morning when she does her yoga practice, that the last thing she does is she'll do some like dancing, just some free dancing. And she tries to make herself as ugly as she can. I think I mentioned it.
Yeah, you talked about this on a different podcast.
Yes, but we haven't released it yet. And she tries to make herself as ugly as she can because she wants to fight against this need to always, because she's very pretty to be beautiful. But, I just want to like, when I look in the mirror, I want my outside to match my inside. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I used to say I felt 20 like 5, but that ship has sailed. I feel 35.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like I'm 40, like a solid 40.
Yeah, I don't want to when I look at myself and because I still feel like, oh, like I'm in the prime of my life, which is a complete lie. But, as far as like, I'm more than halfway through my life because I'm not
Mhm.
going to live to be 110, but I don't want it to affect how I feel. And it does. And I wish it didn't, but it does. And so that is why I'm like, I put my highlights in, I put some makeup on, and I do all the things that I can within reason. I don't want to become a crazy person who is like, you know, over, I don't use filler, but I don't want to have to like go down that route. But will I maybe have a facelift one day? Might.
Yeah. I fought getting breast implants until I was 40, and because I wanted to be okay with my flat chest. I wanted to love it. I was just holding out, and that day never came. So I was 39 and I was like, screw it. Like, I'm just going to do it. And so now I feel so different, like, about plastic surgery and stuff after years. Like, when I think about how much energy I wasted from my teens till I was 39 being unhappy every time I looked in the mirror and seeing my very small breasts. Like, now I feel so much more feminine. I feel better. I feel like it's not for anybody else, it is for me. And I will never let anything like that hold me back again when it comes to a surgery. People often make fun of Joan Rivers and say how weird she looked and everything, but I watched her on The Apprentice when she was 80 years old and she was a boss and treated with utmost respect. Or maybe she was like 78 or something at the time. And I think it was because you could not tell how old she was. Her face was so like, we knew like you'd have to look it up to see how old she was, but you really couldn't tell because of her. So, yes, she looked strange and stuff, but nobody treated her differently. And I think that that's also a big piece of why a lot of women do get plastic surgery because they say they become invisible as they age. I definitely have felt invisible when I gained weight. So there was a time a few years ago where I gained 25 pounds and I was definitely invisible. But I enjoyed it. As someone that got a lot of attention for my looks all my life, I loved not having men check me out all the time. And I felt like women were nicer to me when I was
Mhm.
overweight. And so I felt like they accepted me easier. They were less critical of me. I didn't get all the, oh, why are you dressed up today? It was like, well, of course she's dressed up. She's fat. Like, I felt like maybe that's what they were thinking. I'm not sure. Like, I have to work harder to look good, of course, but whenever I was thin and getting glam, it was like, here we have to do up because Elizabeth is coming. We have to
Ugh.
look our best. And they would make comments like that. Now they do that again now. They're like, well, we knew you were coming. So we had to, yeah.
Put on our makeup or what.
Yeah, we had to, and I'm like, I could give a shit what you do. Like, that's what I'm thinking. But like, they always make comments like that. So for me, I personally, would love to be invisible. What do you
Yeah.
think, Erin? Have
Yeah.
you experienced invisibility?
Like, I don't know that. I mean, I'm sure I have, but I haven't like taken note of it. I
Yeah.
mean, I think like at my gym probably because there's all like 22-year-olds and with these, mostly.
But you're not looking for male attention at the gym. So you could give a shit that there's 22-year-olds gathering up male attention and all the looks and stuff like that. So that's what I often think, like, because women often tell me, and I see
Oh,
TikToks on it all the time, that they
midlife.
feel invisible. Yeah.
Mm.
And so I'm like, who are you really wanting attention from? My husband gives me so much attention that I do not.
I don't need any more
Yes.
attention.
I'm like, don't look this way. I'm not here. I get so much attention. I don't need it from a single person for the rest of my life. I get so much attention. So I feel like, where are you lacking attention in your life that you feel unseen that you need it? And like,
Yeah.
is it with yourself? I don't know what the answer is there, but like maybe.
I have heard that, a lot of women, I've read seen a lot of posts about becoming invisible. Um, and how, I used to get catcalled from the, construction workers and now I don't. I'm like, I'd be like, thank God.
That's what I say. Thank God.
I don't, yeah. I mean, and Jeff is the same way as Chris. He's very attentive. And when I got home from the gym today, when I come in, he's like, you're so beautiful. Come here, and I'm just like, I know he's lying,
That's what I
but
always say to Chris. I know you're lying, but it doesn't matter if I
it
look like
doesn't
a
matter.
troll under the bridge. He's always like, "You're so gorgeous." Oh my god. I'm like, "Oh my god." But because he's that way is probably why
Right. We
I
don't need
don't need
attention
attention.
from other people. We don't need external validation. I mean, and that's, I guess, my point too about not coloring my hair. It's like not needing external validation. There is still obviously a part of me that needs it or wants it because I color my hair, I put on makeup, I mean, it is partly for me, or it's mostly for me, I should say. But there has to be a small, but I mean, I will go places without makeup. I mean,
Yeah. I do too, yeah.
I,
But still, are we gonna go out to a nice restaurant for dinner without makeup? No.
no, never.
But I go to the grocery store all the time without makeup. I go to the mall without makeup. I'll go to J. Crew without makeup, and
Mm.
I'll go to Uncle Julio's without makeup. But am I
What's
gonna
Uncle
go?
Julio's?
Oh, you don't have one of those?
No.
Oh, it's like a Mexican place.
Okay. I was like, who is Uncle Julio?
Yeah, I'll go
I
to
go to his house.
I'll go to the Mexican place without, you
Yeah,
know
I go a lot of places and
but I'm not gonna go to like a fancy restaurant. Like I'm not gonna do a Pam Anderson walking a red carpet with no makeup.
yeah.
I admire that though, and I am inspired by it, but I would
Yeah.
not do it.
She was on the Today Show last week, and I think it's great, but I wanted to say, like, just fill in your eyebrows. That's it. You don't have to do anything else.
Yeah, because she's so light and it just blends right in.
And she's,
Yeah.
I think, overplucked. So they're
Yeah.
very, 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 very thin. That's the only thing. And again, that's very judgmental of me, but I'm just like, they are the frame for your face. And when you don't have them, it just looks weird. And I mean, when you have alopecia and you can't help it, that's fine. Or as you age, to me, I can wear no makeup. And if I have my eyebrows done and my eyelashes curled, I don't even need to put mascara on.
Well, because you have the thickest, blackest eyelashes ever. But
Well,
if
maybe
you're like
that
light
helps.
eyelashes like me, you've gotta have mascara.
Okay. Well, so just enough to like open my eyes and frame. Then it's like everything else. And I have dark eyebrows, but I have a couple of little bald spots and I just fill those in. Yeah, no, but I think it's great what she's doing. I mean, I probably would not go on the red carpet without makeup on. I mean, I would probably not go on the Today Show without makeup on under all those lights and washing you out. But it does probably,
I think it's inspiring. I think it encourages women to define what beauty is for them and to do it in their own way. I think it's beautiful. I mean, that's why I love it. I maybe wouldn't go to that extreme of it, but I do find it inspiring.
yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully our listeners are understanding what we're saying is that it's that we are not wanting to like constantly just use the patriarchy as an excuse for how it's internalized into us. I think it's more about looking at ourselves so that when we do find ourselves judging or getting triggered by someone, like getting curious about it. Like, why am I feeling this way? It's never about the other person. It's always about ourselves. It's about how we
Yeah.
feel about ourselves. And so,
And like, so, and for like the gym thing. So for me, like if I were to examine that, it's like, why would I feel uncomfortable if somebody's wearing a sports bra and leggings with their gut hanging over? Because I feel like I'm judging myself whenever. So whenever we say get curious, that's what it is. Because I would feel like I would be judging myself to do it. And then like, how can she not judge herself? Like that's kind of what you're really saying. And then get curious as to like, maybe there's a better way to be.
hmm yeah, just examining self awareness is like the first step. And then from there, once you're aware of it and you kind of just sit with it. I mean, it's funny. Jeff and I went to Mexico last weekend and I'm terrified of heights. And this is just a small little thing of like getting uncomfortable. I'm terrified of heights. We're on the eighth floor. And this particular hotel this is like our third visit. When you walk by, there's these big giant windows to the outside. And then there's these open like columns. You couldn't fit through it. I mean, like even a child couldn't, because I asked Jeff, do you think a child could fit through there? But I always used to have to walk really close to to the wall away from the windows. But this time I made myself walk closer and I even like stopped and looked out the window. Like I have a very hard time. I can feel this brr, brr, it just comes from my feet up. But I was like, get used to being uncomfortable. Like you don't always, I know it sounds kind of stupid, but it's like, because it's a real genuine fear. I'm terrified. Like when we were out on the balcony several times, we watched the sunset, we watched the sunrise. I would sit there and think like, what if I jumped? Like I'd die. It's 8 floors up. But I was just like, you're not going to jump. You're just feeling fear. It's okay. Like just feel it. Just feel it. Be okay with it. Like sit with your discomfort. Like figure out. Don't try to constantly like I think by judging others, it allows us not to feel the discomfort because we project it outwards rather than inwards.
Yeah, and I just like to add on to that. If you don't push yourself right now to step outside your comfort zone, your brain atrophies as you age, and it will get harder to do that.
Mm.
And I am seeing that in my mom and my aunt, and like, the older women in my life that can't think outside their frame of reference anymore because they didn't push themselves when they were able to do that so much that now so it just becomes a thing. So we've got to push ourselves. We can't say this is just how we were raised, or I don't want to think about this, or this doesn't affect me. Like, get curious about everything so that you can stay curious and your brain will stay healthier and active and more pliable as we age.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to do.
I love that. Yeah, I'm
Get
terrified of heights too.
uncomfortable.
That's good.
So, well, do you have a hot topic for me? Do you have a hot topic for me today?
Kind of, not really a hot topic, but I do have something fun. So I just got back from Florida and I was with my sister-in-law, and she said that when she turned 50, she challenged herself to do 50 new things in her 50s. And I'm so inspired by this that I already opened a note in my phone to start it, and I would encourage you to as well. Now, she just like for her, and this is also going back to your brain and being pliable, trying having new experiences and stuff. So for her, she put simple things on there like eating asparagus and broccoli because she had never had that before her 50s. And so she tried them both for the first time. They made the list. She's also done bigger things like she went all over Italy and she attended an opera. She's doing things that are really far outside of, she's like, I attended one opera, did not enjoy it, but that's okay. Did one opera, she's good. And then she's done some crafty things. So she's doing some mosaic glass making thing. She's just challenged herself to like really go kind of all over the place with it. And I love it. So I've already got 13 things. So she did 50 things in her 50s. I just turned 50 the end of November. So I think I'm taking this a little bit more seriously than she is. So you take it however you want because I've already got 13 things. And I'm like, I think I could do 50 things in a year. But like one of the things I put on my list for the first time in my life, I made a chuck roast this year. I'd never made a chuck roast before. So that's on the list. So I think you can just put all different. I did painted pottery. I went to my first winery with my daughters. It was our first time doing that because everyone was 21. So
Yeah,
we
finally.
went December. And so since turning 50, I've done 13 new things. And so I can't wait to keep adding to it. And I want to challenge you all to do the same.
I love that. Yeah, I was gonna say, so it could be something as simple as trying a new fruit or vegetable that you haven't ever tried, to doing more challenging things like a couple years ago when we went to Switzerland, I did paragliding off the
Mm.
side of a mountain. And again, like you heard, I'm terrified of heights and I didn't like it, but I did it. I made myself do it. But I was going to say for me, you said you made a chuck roast. I would probably, what my food thing would be is to make fried chicken because I've never fried chicken before.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can add it.
I don't like fried foods. I'm like,
Well, I mean, it's not that I like it, but I'm just like, I
yeah,
think
you're like,
everybody
it's
should make fried chicken once in their life,
yeah,
right?
probably,
I mean,
probably.
it's like I've made mashed potatoes from scratch. I've
Yeah.
made a cake from scratch. I've made tons of things. And especially because you like to cook, but just it's probably something that everyone should do once in their life. I just think it's maybe also because I'm Southern,
Yeah.
make fried chicken from scratch and then make
I
chicken.
grew up eating that though. Like my mom would make fried foods all the time.
Okay. And she's
So
so healthy. That seems like an oxymoron.
yeah, so she just when she as she was so she hasn't the past several years hasn't exercised her brain, but she has grown tremendously and it's like over the years from like I was raised on, soda and fried foods and everything. And then by the time I got married, she's completely clean. But she never ate sugar. So that one wasn't a big thing for her.
Yeah. Well, thanks for hanging with us today, you guys. Hopefully, by now you have hit the follow button so that you can stay in the loop each week when we release a new episode.
Yep. And you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to watch full episodes. So we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been a production of Estrogen Dropouts, LLC.